All right, well, looks like our knife here survived the night, and I'll take this opportunity on the 9th of November to say, way to go, Donald Trump. You turned this country upside down. Anyway, I hope the liberals survive it, and God bless them. This knife is prettier than I remembered it from last night, but anyway, um, what I'm going to do is I'm probably not going to show a whole bunch of stuff or record a lot of it because it's really not necessary. But a little trick I learned from Brian T., journeyman smith in the ABS from the same year that I was, is that when you sand some handle material, just take your finger and put a little liquid of your favorite finish on your handle material and sand that. And that creates a bit of a liquid slurry of the sawdust and the liquid from the finish, like tung oil, or I personally use Danish oil. It carries it into the wood and fills the pores with the wood itself and gives it a really smooth, consistent finish. So I'm going to go do that with some 400 grit and make sure all my 220 sanding marks are gone and such, and then I'm going to heat up this guard and do the forward bend on it. And I literally just heat it up with a torch, stick this thing in a vise between a couple pieces of steel, and drive it forward with a hammer. No biggie, easy peasy. So be back here in a little bit, and then I'll show you how I do my finial. And this thing will be ready for hot bluing tomorrow. We'll hot blue the guard and the blade together. All right, looking good. Well, welcome back, and I'm in the middle of probably half a dozen different projects right here going on at this time. But what I wanted to show you was, here's a couple of our temporary finials that I use on a lot of different knives, and the key point being this is this shoulder right here sits on that ring that you may remember I inserted into the butt. For example, I'm going to turn it, this is upside down, but you hear I'm hitting that sorry about that, I'm hitting that ring that's down there in the butt. Well, this goes in and that shoulder sits on there. So those are turned on my lathe, and I just turn it out of a 5/16 stainless steel rod. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one. This is going to be a pretty nice knife, so I'm going to decorate this. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to make another one just like this. It's going to be a 4-pin. Remember my 4 pins and the laying around here somewhere. Here it is. And the wrench with the 4 pins that fits in those holes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another one just like this, thread it, drill these 4 holes, and then right in the center of the 4 pins, I'm going to tap a number 2 56 screw hole. And this finial is going to be sitting about quarter inch inside the butt, the end of the butt of the knife. And that in that I'm going to insert a piece of mammoth ivory with a decorative 256 screw right in the center of it. So when you look at the butt end of the knife, you'll just see a piece of ivory with a cute little screw in it. So I'm going to get set up and start doing that. I'm doing a little epoxy work, and while I'm setting up epoxy, I'll be getting prepared for this. So that's how we're going to finish off this knife. Be back in a little bit. Okie dokie. What I've done right now is I've turned this on my lathe, and I've threaded it 1032, and it should, and it does, fit into the finial hole. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this thing off about 200 thousandths, you know, fifth of an inch less than the depth of the hole, and that'll leave me that 200 thousandths of an inch that I will create a decorative cover of some type. I'm probably going to use mammoth ivory. I'm not sure. I might use I got some warthog tusk. I've used moose antler, all kinds of things. I'm not sure. It's not really important. Ivory will look good. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll use mammoth ivory. But I'm going to go ahead and gosh, I don't know where my little wrench is. Just to reiterate, yeah, I'm going to drill these 4 holes, make a 4-pin wrench for it, and I'll tap a 256 screw right here in the center of it while I've got it on the lathe, so I can see. Here's what I'll do is I'll do this right here while I'm filming this. This right to the top of that ring is, it's 910 thousandths. Check it someplace else. Check it side to side and see where we're at. Okay, 910 thousandths. I'll make this thing 710 thousandths. So I'm going to have to cut that off about right in there, which I'll stick this back in the lathe and cut that off. Honestly, I cut it off with a hacksaw. So, and then clean up the end of it. All right, see you in a little bit. Well, I don't know what I was talking about. Cut it off with a hacksaw. Wasn't thinking. I'm still thinking about our new president. Anyway, I just marked it and then I cut it off on the bandsaw, and then I will stick this back in the lathe and true up this and get this end perfectly square with the cutoff tool, and I'll take it, clean it up, and measure it right so it's 710 thousandths. So let me get that done. Yes, I have drill bits. And these are just a lot of the small ones. They're all numbered and categorized. Got to have them to do this sort of thing. And I keep just right on the inside of the box. I keep special notations so I don't forget what works and how to do things right and so forth. Anyway, there's some drill bits for you. Okay, well, I have made my finial. I'm looking for my wrench here. See what happens when you get all spread. Here it is up here. I think, is this the one? No, this is an older wrench for a different let's see what this is. This one? There we go. Ooh, nice and centered. What I do is I made a holder that holds this thing. Made this little gadget, set it in there and holds it in my mill, and then I find center on this and I just go off of center 90 thousandths, 4 different directions, and that gives me my wrench. Let's see if it works. That's what matters the most, is that it works. Not how you do it, but that it works. There we go. There it goes. Goes in, and let's hope it's about 200 thousandths short of, yep, there it's going on in, bottomed out, and there's, you should be able to see the space. And I'll get this tapped in the center for the 256 screw, and then we'll put in a decorative something. this is a 5/16 rod, and what I'll do is take another 5/16 rod, get it good and square on the end, and whatever, here's 5/16 rod right here, right? I'll get it good and square on the end, and then whatever material I'm going to do, I'll just super glue it to the end of the rod, and then I'll turn it down until in the lathe until it hits the rod. Then it's 5/16, and drill a hole in the end of it, and then she'll be my cover. Here we have our finial. I haven't got the 256 in that yet, and here's our wrench. All I do is literally use a little bit of super glue down in those holes, set the pins in, and then just blow off the excess super glue with some air, and in a second or two you can't even pull those things out of there with a wrench. It's amazing what happens down inside a hole. So be back in a second. I'm back now, and I can put away my temporary. Let's see, I got this. I can put away my temporary finials, and now I have a permanent finial that's going to go on this knife. And I made my wrench, and looks like it'll work for the most part. Oh, we're getting there. Taking a while, but we'll get there. It's almost quitting time here today, and we got us a pretty good looking knife. I'm liking the way things are going. That's about it for today. Talk to you guys tomorrow.